The Coliseum at Charlotte, North Carolina was packed this past weekend, packed with mud bog fans.
A sellout crowd watched high-powered machines matched up against mud. A lot of mud.
As Barbara Sheridan reports, it was a night filled with just about everything.
A sold-out crowd showed up at the Charlotte Coliseum for the mud bogs, but for a while the trucks would have to take a backseat to another kind of mud matchup. These people were selected to try their luck with the mud and without a truck. The prize at the end of the bog, cash in a three-wheeler. With that in mind, everyone began moving through the muck as fast as possible, which at times was out of the question for several of the contestants. I doubt very much if this will ever become a national pastime. A few seem to have the right method to move through the mud, with this contestant having a comfortable lead over the rest of the field to win the bike and bucks. While he was getting his prizes, some of the other runners were still trying to get out of the mud. Finally, with some help, that was possible. Then it was time for machine and man against mud, and the mud more often than not was the winner. Here's a few highlights of how to and how not to get through a mud bog. Randy Cantrell was the overall winner in the three-wheel competition with rides like this. He would cap it off with this wheelie and dump. Onto the stock trucks that really didn't fare much better. And just when it looks like you've got it beat, the engine says no more. John Craig drove his truck to victory in the stock class. There were some successes. Dick Wilson in the A-Team truck just blows through the mud en route to victory in the modified class. But for the most part, the mud had the last word. Then it was time for some driving lessons. Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher demonstrates to the fans how to get out of an overcrowded parking lot. He then shows them how to get into a crowded parking lot. How many times have you needed something like that during the Christmas rush? There was more car crushing to come, and David Mace had the perfect machine for it. Called the Virginia Beach Beast. This truck doesn't stop for anything and doesn't care what it does to any vehicle. Including itself, as Mace loses one of his windows on a return pass. The two machines would meet again later in a challenge match, as the Virginia Beach Beast has a healthy appetite for mud and roars through the muck with ease. After the challenge came the Carolina Crusher, and while not as fast as the Beast, does get through the muddy mess without too much difficulty. On to the experimental class. John Runner in his 57 Thunderbird just flies through the mud in just 2.97 seconds. Runner also drove his Black Magic machine to second place. He was one of the more fortunate ones. We'll be bringing you more mud bog racing action from Ascot Park in Gardena, California next week. Barbara Sheridan reporting for This Week in Motorsports.